In a season full of insane weeks, Week 12 might have been the wildest one yet. The NFL scriptwriter was on some crazy combination of steroids and 30 bottles of alcohol. It was truly a crazy one. Last week, I went 8-5, bringing my total record on the season to 116 and 63. In this video, I'll be predicting every Week 13 game with score predictions. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Subscribing takes just a second and it really helps me out. Also, if you haven't already, I highly recommend that you check out my mid-season recap that I posted on Wednesday. I think it's one of my best videos yet. You can click the card in the upper right hand corner or the link in the pinned comment to check it out once you're done watching this video. Thank you, and let's get started. Houston Texans vs Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags are on bye and they might be getting Trevor Lawrence back, which will obviously be a big help because Mac Jones is not good. The Texans are coming off a, pretty embarrassing loss all things considered. I don't think CJ Stroud played bad, though he wasn't at his best, and everything else just didn't work. Their defense was pretty bad other than the one pick six, and their run game was non-existent. Paimi Fairbairn also missed a 28-yard field goal that would have tied the game up. It's pretty clear that this Texans team just isn't as good as it was last year, which sucks because they did have Super Bowl aspirations coming into the year. However, this Jaguars team is also bad, and I think the Texans get back on track with a 24-21 victory. They need this one in order to make sure that they win this division. Indianapolis Colts vs New England Patriots. The Colts suffered an expected loss to the Lions, but there are some positive takeaways for them. I think Anthony Richardson played better than his stats indicated, as he had multiple of his passes dropped or called back by penalties. Andrew Ogletree dropped a wide open touchdown. Drops have kind of hindered Richardson's production all year and made his stats look way worse. Richardson leads the entire NFL in drop percentage, meaning the percentage of his passes that are dropped is more than any other quarterback. Everyone likes to clown on him for his 47.1 completion percentage, but his adjusted completion percentage, which accounts for things like drops, is actually 61.1, which isn't nearly as bad. Richardson has had his struggles, but in my opinion, I think he should start for the Colts next year unless he finishes the season really poorly. Remember, he was a raw prospect and he has shown some flashes. I think under Shane Steichen, he can continue to develop. The Patriots just kind of didn't show up to play the Dolphins. They didn't score any points until the fourth quarter, and by then they were down 31-0. May was fine, but he has nothing around him to work with. I think the Colts are going to win this one 21-20. They should be able to contain the Patriots offense, and as long as they can actually catch the ball, then they'll be fine. Los Angeles Chargers vs Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are coming off a bye week after getting destroyed by the Broncos. They have not looked good in their past two games, and the Bucs are catching up to them in the division. The Chargers lost the Harbaugh Bowl, and their defense got ran all over, and Quentin Johnston returned to rookie form, dropping all three of his targets, including one on a crucial 3rd and 6. I'm not too worried about them though. That was a really good Ravens team they played. I think the Chargers get another victory 31-24. They should be able to have their way with a bad Falcons defense. Seattle Seahawks vs New York Jets. The Jets finally got a week where they didn't have disappointment because they didn't play. In their last game, they allowed Anthony Richardson to have the best game of his career, so that's not good. The Seahawks didn't have the best offensive showing, but were able to beat the Cardinals due to their defense having a great game. Mike McDonald has really turned that unit around. I think we all know what's going to happen in this game. Not their offense is going to be able to do much, but the Jets are going to do something stupid and lose this game. I have the Seahawks winning 21-17. There's nothing more to say on the Jets. What a disappointment this season has been. Tennessee Titans vs Washington Commanders. If you didn't watch the Cowboys-Commanders game, well, you missed the wildest game of the season. At first, it was boring as shit, as the score was 13-9 Cowboys with just over 5 minutes left in the game. Then, the craziest sequence of events ever happened. So, first, Cooper Rush connected with Luke Schoonmaker for a 22-yard touchdown off busted coverage. Then, Jaden Daniels drove down the field and hit Zach Ertz for a 4-yard touchdown and converted the 2-point conversion. So, with 3 minutes left, the score is 20-17 Cowboys. But we aren't done yet. On the ensuing kickoff, Cowboys return man Kevontae Turpin muffed the kick at the 1-yard line and then proceeded to return it 99 yards for a touchdown. Then the Commanders were able to kick a field goal to bring the score to 27-20 with 1:44 left to go. The Cowboys then went 3-0 and punted the ball back to the Commanders with about 30 seconds left and no timeouts. And then, on the first play of the drive, Jaden Daniels hits Terry McLaurin for an 86-yard touchdown to bring the score within 1. But then, Austin Seibert missed the extra point that would have tied the game. And if that wasn't enough, on the ensuing onside kick, the Cowboys not only recovered it, but returned it for a touchdown, ending the game with a 34-26 score. 38 of the 60 total points in this game were scored in the final 5 minutes. The Commanders quite literally had the worst special teams game of all time. They allowed 2 return touchdowns, and Austin Seibert missed both a field goal and 2 extra points, including the one that would have sent the game to overtime. That is an insane 17-point swing due to the Commanders' special teams. But guess what? The Titans also had an insane game, where they beat the Texans 32-27. At first, it wasn't looking like the Titans were going to win it, as Levis threw a 65-yard pick 6 on the last play of the third quarter. However, Levis then threw a 70-yard touchdown pass to Chigakonkwo, and then the Texans kicker Kaimi Fairbairn missed the tying field goal, and then the Texans sacked CJ Stroud in the end zone to win it. Nobody expected these two teams to have these games like this, but they happened. I do think the Titans got a little lucky, while the Commanders obviously got really unlucky with their special teams, and that's something they need to clean up. The Commanders are in the middle of a 3-game losing streak, but I think they get a win here, 24-20. As long as they don't have another special teams collapse, they should be fine. Pittsburgh Steelers vs Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals were on bye last week, though it still feels like their defense gave up 30 points. I ranted about that unit before, I don't need to do it again. The Steelers suffered an unfortunate loss to the Browns in a snow game. They really couldn't get the running game going, and their defense folded at the worst time. I hope this isn't the start of another Steelers late season choke job, though in my personal opinion, I don't think that's the case. This team actually has a proper quarterback, unlike the past 2 seasons. This game could definitely go either way, but I'm actually taking Cincinnati 27-24. This is the worst offense the Bengals have played since the Raiders, and I think Cincy's own offense should be able to do just enough to win this game. Arizona Cardinals vs Minnesota Vikings. So Arizona's offense just kind of died against the Seahawks. They like to run the ball, but they weren't able to establish a run game, and that kind of screwed up their whole rhythm. Kyler wasn't bad, but he did have a back-breaking pick 6 that basically sealed the game. The Cardinals defense did play really well though, and overall are exceeding expectations. Jonathan Gannon has done a great job on that side of the ball. The Vikings are coming off a win over the Bears, where they won in the most Vikings way of all time. They were up 27-16 with just 29 seconds left before allowing the Bears to score a touchdown, then a 2-point conversion. Then the Bears recovered the onside kick, sent the game into overtime with a field goal, before the Vikings finally won it with a field goal of their own. I know every Vikings fan was taking 35 doses of heart medication throughout that game, but hey, Jordan Addison had his best game of his career, which was great because the Bears were basically throwing their entire defense at Justin Jefferson. TJ Hawkinson has also been massive for this team ever since he came back from injury, and he had his first 100-yard game of the season. I do think it will be close, but I'm taking the Vikings 23-19. Arizona isn't going to be able to run the ball against the Vikings defense, and just like in Seattle, that is going to mess up the Cardinals offense. Los Angeles Rams vs New Orleans Saints. Bye week for the Saints, but their Week 11 game was insane. They scored 35 points on the Browns because of one man, Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill, the positionless wonder, had probably the wildest stat line you will ever see. He threw, ran, and caught the ball. Passing, he went 1 of 2 for 18 yards and an interception. Receiving, he caught 8 passes for 50 yards. And on the ground, he had 7 carries for 138 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's nearly 20 yards per carry. It seems like every year, Taysom has that one game where he puts up just insane numbers. The good news for the Rams, he likely won't repeat that. The bad news, their run defense is absolute shit. They gave up over 300 yards on the ground, and most of those to Saquon Barkley, and the Saints have a top 10 running game this season. However, Matthew Stafford and the Rams passing game should be able to cover up the Saints defense. The same defense that gave up 400 passing yards to Jameis Winston, taking the Rams to win 27-21 and to stay in the running for the NFC West title. Tampa Bay Buccaneers vs Carolina Panthers. Wow. All I can say is wow. Bryce Young just went out there and went toe-to-toe with the best quarterback of the 2020s. He had what I believe is the best game of his career. He made some incredibly high-level throws that you just didn't see from him in his rookie season. If the Panthers defense wasn't as soft as one of those winter blankets you buy from Target, the Panthers would have actually won this game. It's clear that whatever happened during Young's benching worked, because he looks like a whole different quarterback ever since he came back. There's no question that he's going to be the starter next year. While I don't know if he'll ever become a top 10 quarterback or anything like that, I do think there is a world where he earns a second contract with this team. The Bucs completely destroyed the Giants, and of course Baker Mayfield had to do the Tommy Cutlet celebration. Having Mike Evans back really opened up this offense. I am taking Tampa to win 31-28. I think Bryce Young could put up a fight, but in the end, the Panthers defense isn't going to be able to do anything against the Bucs offense. Philadelphia Eagles vs Baltimore Ravens. So could somebody tell me why this game isn't on prime time, but the Broncos-Browns game is? That's kind of ridiculous if you ask me. Anyway, this game is basically a battle between the 2 Offensive Player of the Year candidates. Saquon Barkley, who was already having a good year, shot himself right into the race with a 300-yard performance against the Rams. However, Derrick Henry is also right in it, having a nice 140-yard game of his own. Both of these teams are really good, and this game could have major playoff seeding implications. Philly needs to win in order to even have a chance at the 1 seed, and Baltimore needs this win in order to try and catch up to the Steelers for the division. In the end, I do think the Ravens win this one 28-27. The Ravens have a better pass game than the Eagles, and when it comes down to that big drive in the 4th quarter, I trust Lamar a lot more than Jalen Hurts. San Francisco 49ers vs Buffalo Bills. The 49ers just aren't healthy. That's the problem. They were missing Brock Purdy, Nick Bosa, and Trent Williams against the Packers, and that led to them getting destroyed easily. The Bills are coming off a bye week after handing the Chiefs their first loss of the season. Josh Allen is playing some of his best ball, and the Bills can clinch the AFC East with a win here. That's exactly what I have happening, as I'm taking Buffalo 34-13. Brandon Allen isn't doing anything against the Bills, and it's looking like the defending Super Bowl champions might not even make the playoffs. Cleveland Browns vs. Denver Broncos. Okay, Cleveland, that was a good win. I mean, you hurt your draft position with that win, but it was still good nonetheless. Jameis Winston played pretty well given the conditions, and man does he give us some good clips every week.
And we back again, out here playing some football on Thursday night. Terrible, somebody jump off sides, damn!
Myles Garrett firmly established himself as the leading defensive player of the year candidate, and Jerry Jeudy has quietly had a good season. The Browns do have a future if they can get the right quarterback in there. The Broncos had a pretty easy win over the Raiders. They were able to contain Brock Bowers, which almost no team has done this season, and Bo Nix had another good game. I think the Broncos defense should be able to force some mistakes out of Jameis and win this game fairly comfortably 24-17. It's possible Bo Nix takes the offensive rookie of the year away from Jaden Daniels if he keeps playing like this. But that's it. Those are my week 13 NFL predictions. Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? Comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out my mid-season recap using the link in the pinned comment. That's it for me. See ya, and enjoy week 13.